You're at your promotion dinner, the one you worked 3 years to get. Your partner ordered champagne, your mom texted 3 heart emojis, everyone's toasting to you, and you're smiling. You're saying all the right things. But underneath the silk blouse and the rehearsed gratitude, there's this hollow ache in your chest, like you're watching your own life through glass, like none of this belongs to you. If that feeling just landed somewhere in your body, that strange cocktail of achievement and emptiness, you're not broken, you're not ungrateful, and you're definitely not alone. What you're experiencing has a name: achievement void dissociation. It's the gap between a life that looks flawless on paper and a soul that feels like it's suffocating behind the resume. You've done everything right, but somewhere along the way, you stop feeling like the person living it. And the shame of that, the guilt of having it all and still feeling empty, keeps you silent. In my 22 years working with high-achieving women in New York, I've sat across from hundreds of people who've built extraordinary lives and feel like ghosts inside them. And here's what you need to understand. This isn't about your relationships, your job, or your circumstances. It's about the relationship you have with yourself. From the time you were young, you learned that your worth was conditional, so you adapted. You became exceptional at performing, achieving, delivering, and over time, something devastating happened. You didn't just perform for others. You started performing for yourself. Sound familiar? Here's what happens. When you spend decades measuring your worth by external metrics, you internalize that measurement system. Your nervous system literally begins to prioritize performance over presence, even when you're alone, even when no one's watching. You become your own harshest audience, your own most demanding critic, your own cruelest judge. In psychology, we call this self-abandonment. You're not numb because you're broken. You're numb because you've been waging a war against yourself, editing your desires, punishing your needs, silencing your truth for so long that you can no longer tell which voice is yours and which is the performance. That's why you can have everything and still feel empty. Because you're not living your life. You're curating it. And the curator, the one doing all that work, is invisible even to herself. Let me show you what this looks like. Not in your relationships with others, but in the relationship you have with yourself when no one else is watching. Even when you're alone, really alone, there's this voice. It sounds like you, but it's not. It's the internalized expectations of everyone who ever measured your worth by what you produced, and you're still performing for it. You finish a project at 11 p.m., and instead of feeling proud, you immediately scan for what you could have done better. You take a Saturday afternoon off and spend it mentally defending why you deserve rest, as if rest requires justification. You accomplish something, and before the feeling even lands, you're already thinking about the next goal, the next proof, the next performance. You've turned your own mind into an auditorium, and you're both the performer and the audience that's never satisfied. Here's the heartbreaking part. You've become so efficient at self-abandonment that you edit your desires before they even fully form. Someone asks what you want for dinner, and you genuinely don't know. Not because you're indecisive, but because you stopped asking yourself years ago. You have a free weekend, and instead of feeling excited, you feel anxious because without a schedule, without tasks, without external validation to chase, who even are you? You reach for your phone, for a project, for anything that lets you keep performing productivity instead of just existing. You've censored yourself so thoroughly that you can't distinguish between what you actually want and what you think you should want. The editor has been running so long, she's deleted the original manuscript. You get sick, and instead of resting, you berate yourself for falling behind. You feel lonely and shame yourself for being needy. You want to cry and tell yourself to pull it together, as if emotions are inconveniences to be managed rather than information to be honored. You treat yourself the way you'd never treat another person, with contempt, with impatience, with cruelty. When you're tired, you push harder. When you're hurting, you minimize it. When you need something, you talk yourself out of it. You've internalized the message that your humanity, your tiredness, your needs, your imperfections is a problem to be solved. So you wage a quiet, relentless war against your own body, your own heart, your own truth. This is the most devastating part. You've been performing for so long, first for others, now for yourself, that you can't tell the difference anymore between your authentic voice and the voice of the performance. When you say, "I'm fine," do you mean it? Or is it automatic? When you say, "I want this," is it true? Or is it what you think you should want? When you lie awake at 2 a.m. and feel that ache in your chest, is that your soul trying to speak? Or just anxiety to be managed? You've spent so many years translating yourself into an acceptable version that you've lost the ability to hear the original language. You're fluent in performance, but you've forgotten how to speak truth. And here's what makes this so lonely. This war happens in private. No one sees it. You look successful, you look put together, you look fine, so you assume the problem is you, that you're ungrateful, broken, wrong. But the truth is this: you're exhausted because you've been fighting yourself every single day, measuring yourself, editing yourself, punishing yourself, performing yourself. The emptiness you feel isn't because your life is missing something. It's because you've been missing from your own life. Do you see it now? This isn't about anyone else. It's about the relationship you've been taught to have with yourself. A relationship built on conditions, performance, and worthiness that must be earned again and again and again. I know that's a lot to sit with, but here's the good news. You can relearn how to be with yourself, not as a critic, not as a performance evaluator, but as someone who deserves presence, kindness, and truth. And it starts with one small, daily act of loyalty to yourself. I call it the name and claim practice. It's a somatic tool, meaning it works through your body, not just your mind, designed to rebuild the connection between your physical self and your emotional truth. Tonight, before bed, find somewhere quiet. Sit down, place your hand on your heart, palm flat against your chest, skin on skin if you can. This physical touch matters. It signals to your nervous system that you're safe enough to feel. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths. Then ask yourself, and this is the crucial part, what am I actually feeling right now? Not what you should feel, not what's productive or rational, what's true. Maybe it's exhaustion, maybe it's rage, maybe it's grief for all the years you spent performing instead of existing. Maybe it's terror at the thought of admitting you're not okay. Whatever surfaces, name it out loud, speak it into the room. I feel tired. I feel invisible. I feel trapped in a life I don't recognize. I feel angry that I've abandoned myself for so long. Then comes the second step. Claim your right to feel it. Say these exact words. This feeling is real. This feeling is mine. This feeling is allowed to exist. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to justify it. You don't have to make it smaller or more palatable. You just have to acknowledge that it's there, that it's real, that it matters. Why does this work? Your nervous system has been trained to bypass your emotions, to edit them, to perform over them. This practice starts to reverse that wiring. It's not dramatic. It's not a cure-all, but it's a beginning. A way of saying to the part of you that's been silenced, I'm listening now. You don't have to earn the right to be heard. You're allowed to exist. Do this every night for a week, just a week, and notice what shifts. You're not fixing yourself. You're finally meeting yourself. Here's what they didn't tell you. Your life isn't missing things. It's missing you, the real you, not the performed version, not the curated version, the one who's messy and uncertain and tired and real, the one who has needs that don't fit into a productivity app, the one who feels things that can't be optimized away. That emptiness you feel, it's not evidence that something's wrong with you. It's your soul's way of saying, I'm still here. Under all the performance, under all the perfectionism, under all the pushing and proving, I'm still here. And I'm exhausted from being invisible, even to you. The war you've been waging against yourself, you can lay it down, not all at once, not perfectly, but you can start. You can stop performing for your inner critic. You can stop editing your desires before you feel them. You can stop punishing yourself for being human. You don't need a different life. You need permission to be yourself inside the life you have, to exist without justification, to feel without defense, to rest without earning it. And that permission, it doesn't come from achievement or approval. It comes from you deciding that your humanity is not a problem to be solved. So if this landed somewhere deep, if you felt that uncomfortable recognition, that quiet, oh, this is what I've been doing, then you're in exactly the right place. This channel is for women who are exhausted from performing for themselves and ready to learn how to just be. Women who are discovering that the emptiness isn't about what they're missing. It's about coming home to who they've always been. Hit subscribe so you never miss a reminder that you don't have to earn the right to exist, because the world needs you, the real you, not the performance. Welcome home.